Hello and welcome to creatingforgrace.com. Today we're going to make this umbrella kitty card, and it uses the Weather Together stamp set, which has all of these, and also the umbrella weather framelits that coordinate, and also the Serene Scenery Designer Series paper stack, and this is the background on one of them. So I'm going to set this aside for right now, and I've pre-done a lot of the parts to save some time. But one of the things that I like to do is do the die cutting ahead of time, and so I've done the framelits for the clouds here, and you can see this is the original, and I've used Pool Party ink to inset those. So I'm going to grab one of the Stampin' Up! Foam mats, just like that. Here are my two clouds. Make sure I have this going the correct direction. Let's set that right inside there. And just like that. And the reason that I did that is I can move this a tiny bit and still have my integrity of my border intact. That's why I didn't fasten it down. Plus, if you make a mistake on the background, we can always cut another piece of the craft paper and white, and it hasn't been attached yet. So here's my Stampin' Up! Bone folder. It makes the edges very crisp. I'm going to take our snail runner, and I'm going to run around the edges. And if you give it a quick flick to the right, just like that, you won't end up with those little strings that kind of hang out. So we're going to try and keep our border fairly even all the way around. These are our strips for this left-hand side, but you can tell that there are, I'm not sure if the camera picks it up very well, there are some raindrops that I've done in craft white ink. So we're going to go ahead and get that part done as well. So open up the craft white. And these are the raindrops. Make sure you have them going in the right direction. Here. And it's not meant to be incredibly bold. The little kitty is holding an umbrella, so you do want it to feel like it's falling behind the umbrella and around it. So that should be enough. Close up that Whisper White craft and set our raindrops aside. So I've already pre-done the umbrella in terms of the die cut portion of it. So I used it from the Thinlit die, and it's called Umbrella Weather Thinlits. And I cut a thin strip of the Dazzling Diamond paper to act as the handle, and then also this tiny border. There are lots of borders to choose from, but I wanted to do pearl accents, so I thought this would work really well. So I'm going to flip this over, and this is our fine tip glue. I really love this for any small parts that we want to have adhesive down. The tip on it is incredibly fine. It's really good for words, and you'll see we're actually going to use it in a few minutes on the Fox Builder punch to make our kitty also. So a good way to attach those ears down. He's all attached there. So since we have our raindrops down, we can put our sides down. This is that Serene Scenery paper stack, and I think in the big catalog it gets really overlooked. It's got some absolutely beautiful background papers. I've just done a series of them on my blog, And then on the other side are all of the coordinating patterns. And so it's really versatile paper, and a lot of those sceneries just function really well as a standalone card. Attach that down. We've got our dazzling diamond strip. And put that right on the end there. And then this is our Island Indigo strip. This one's done at about 1/4 of an inch. The dazzling diamond strip is about 3/8 of an inch. All the measurements though are actually on my blog for all of the layers of paper, the strips and everything. So before we attach our umbrella down, we want to put our kitty together because that will really tell us kind of the placing for everything. So I've already done a strip of the early espresso paper, and our kitty body we're going to do with the Fox Builder punch. So that was the body. This is actually the head, and we're going to do one for the tail. And we'll have all of our pieces that we need. So there's his body and his tail and his head. We'll get rid of these little scraps here. And then I also have a little strip of the white, kind of what gives Kitty some definition, is the little tail tip and ear tips. And so we're going to cut out 2 of these ear tips. There's one. There's 2. And then we will also do one of the tail tips. And there's 3. Get those out of the way as well. So now we have our parts to our kitty body. Again, we're going to use the fine tip glue. And I'm just going to put a little drop on the ears and the tip of the tail. And I actually have one of the jewel pickers I really like. They kind of stick, and it helps you to place items exactly where you need them to go. I'm going to get that down. And we got his ears together. So now our kitty is put together, and I actually have, these are Stampin' Dimensionals, and they're in octagon shapes, which are awesome, and I'll show you on the back of the umbrella card, but I often will cut them in half for smaller parts too. And that's actually what I did with this one, because I knew I like to pop up the tail kind of right in the center there, and then I also like to pop up the head, and that gives the kitty body a lot of dimension and a little bit of depth. So, and he's got his head tilted just a bit, just like that. So now if we add some adhesive on the back of our kitty, I'm going to take our card here, and he's going to go just about there. And then this is our actual umbrella handle. Like I said, I did it ahead of time in the Dazzling Diamond. And I'm going to tuck a little piece underneath Kitty's body here, just like that. And it dries clear, so you won't see anything. Then we have the umbrella here. So I also have some of the small size pearls here that I put inside the umbrella as an embellishment. And I'm just picking those up with my paper snips, and I'm going to drop one inside Believe it or not, this is actually the hardest part on the entire card. It would actually qualify as a quick and easy card, except that I kind of feel like when you use inks and framelits and punches, you can't really label it as such, even if it is relatively quick and easy to put together. So there's my border with the little pearls, and you can kind of move those and get them more centered than I did for the magic of camera. Didn't want to hold you up. Again, these are our Stampin' Dimensionals, and I'm just going to place a couple on the back of here. Take that off, and then we're just going to center Kitty just like that. And the last thing we have to do is the sentiment. I had some strips pre-done. This says, sometimes we all need shelter from the storm, which I thought was a cute sentiment for little Kitty there under his umbrella and raindrops. So I had a 1/2 inch white strip. Again, using that foam pad underneath. It gives you a lot cleaner stamped image, especially when you're using the photopolymer stamps. So I think that makes a really big difference in the quality of stamping that you get. I'm going to trim the edges. And we had flagged these fairly close to the end, so all I'm going to do is I'm going to go right in the center. Then I'm going to go from the end in and from the end in. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to go in the center and then from the end in and the end in. So we have a layer of the early espresso here, and we want a tiny bit of that early espresso to stand out at the top and the bottom. So we're going to trim a very little bit off both sides. It's fairly close to the end anyway, so it's just enough to frame the sentiment. So just like that, we'll get rid of that. And we're going to use our snail adhesive right on the back there. Again, centering just enough to have a little peak of the early espresso as a border. And trim that piece off. And then we're going to do exactly the same thing. We're going to go to the center, inside, and from the end to the center. And again, and that gives us those really nice clean flagged ends, which is kind of awesome. So I really liked everything to have some flow and movement on my card. So again, I'm going to take one of the dimensionals, and I'm going to take one of the ones that I've already cut in half, and I'm going to put it in the center, and then I'm just going to add the tiniest bit of snail adhesive on each end, just like that. And give it a little bit of curve up. Take that off. And that is our card. And I always tell people, don't forget to make your envelopes pretty. So for this one, I simply stamped one of the envelope images with the handle that would coordinate with the island indigo. And there is our kitty being sheltered from the storm. Thanks so much for watching. And if you have any questions, the blog is creatingforgrace.com. All the measurements will be there.